कैसा शादी कराना सो काली होगी ना काली रहे तो भी लक्षण है इट्स लाइक इवन दो you're dark you have nice features शादी तक मैं गोरी हो जाऊंगी शादी तक मैं पतली हो जाऊंगी शादी तक मेरा ये लाइक नो योर शादी तक इज नॉट योर अल्टीमेट गोल
How important is it to know who you truly are before getting into a relationship?
I thought you would want to be you're okay with living with my parents are amazing yeah for you
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be the same thing for me my mother could do all of this to my father and now apparently whatever I do is not even the bare minimum
I feel like just because you're a woman, you'll be a good mother,
Mother.
or you'll want to be a mother. Things are changing now.
they're like okay now I'm at peace no you're not at peace now you're like okay when is the grandchild coming
Yeah, exactly.
or you're not pretty after that or you can't have babies after that or nobody's going to find you after this or you'll have to marry like somebody old
अच्छा ठीक है 2 महीना है so let's find some guy and then we'll just get you engaged before you
Engaged.
go to the job.
Ooh,
So
this-
he's like you go take the job but किसी के साथ engagement कर देंगे.
Then nobody let me drink kali cha because if you drink kali cha then you're kali now nobody speaks though because they're like next time ये मेरे ऊपर वीडियो बना देगी so
Marriage, shadi, wedding. It's considered to be one of the most important decisions that we take in our lives. You know, getting married, choosing the right life partner is one of the most crucial decisions that one takes in our life. आज का पॉडकास्ट उन लोगों के लिए है जिनकी शादी होने वाली है, who's gonna get married soon, or who's engaged already, or who's someone in a relationship and who's planning to get married soon. गाइज शादी के बारे में सोच के खुश तो बहुत होंगे आप you'd be really excited thinking about getting married to your life partner, to the one who you have chosen for your life. But you know what guys, शादी से पहले बहुत सारी ऐसी चीज़ें हैं जिनको ध्यान में रखना चाहिए आपको. There are a lot of things that you really need to think about. बहुत सारी चीज़ें ऐसी हैं जो आपको सोचनी चाहिए. You have to be aware of a lot of things and you have to discuss a lot of things with your partner. And today in our podcast, we're going to talk about that. We have a very special guest, guys. Hi, Rida.
Firstly, thank you so much for having me. Hello. I'm not really sure I'm the right guest to have this conversation, but I think it is nice to be here to kind of share my perspective of what I think and what marriage feels like right now. And to somebody who's already married, I think you can give your perspective as well. But thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited for this conversation to start.
Thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for coming, Rida. And I'm sure that all of viewers know you already. You are like the Instagram star out there. You are the social media influencer that everyone looks up to. For someone who doesn't know you yet, I would like to say that Rida is a content creator who is out there to inspire, empower, and motivate her audience always. Actually, you know what? Last year से मैं सोच रही थी कि मुझे ये podcast shoot करना है. And पहले दिन से you were on my mind. I've always felt that, when you talk about breaking the kind of certain mindset that patriarchy brings in. So I felt that you're very refreshingly like rebellious on that note. बहुत सारी ऐसी चीज़ें हैं जो हम मन में सोचते हैं. When we see things out there, we are like ऐसे क्यों हुआ, ऐसे क्यों हुआ. But to actually stand up and speak about it like you do, I think that takes a lot of courage.
Thank you.
And that's really amazing about you.
Thank you. Thank you. That's a very beautiful observation. Means a lot.
So, Rida, would you like to say something about yourself, who you are? Just in short, if you want to say about yourself.
I think there's enough content out there for
Yes.
you to just give you a quick gist of who I am, where I come from, and everything. But to all of the people who do not know me and you're here for the first time and you're like, okay, who is this person? I've never heard about this person. I am Rida Tharana. I come from Coorg, and it's been 8 years that I'm here in Bangalore. I came here for my graduation. I come from a very orthodox Muslim family, and my whole life has been around, we come from a small village in Coorg as well. And one of the things my mom has constantly taught me is, for a man, you to get married and settle down, learn enough English ABC so you can teach your kids the same thing.
Yeah.
And I was never taught to dream. I was never taught to be something of myself or be something on my own or anything of that sort. I just really, really thought I'd probably right now, if it were not for me standing up for myself, coming here, you probably might have like 1, 2, 3 kids just here with the podcast talking up with you. So yeah. I moved out when I was 16. I started studying here. I started working when I was 17 as an MC, or also take modeling gigs here and there to walk ramps and things of that sort. And then, the MCing as a host, it slowly started picking up. People started knowing me in the industry. They're like, okay,
Hmm.
she's good at it. And when I finally thought maybe this is something I would like to do, I would like to be a moderator. I'd probably, if I did stick to that and I was not an influencer, I
Hmm.
might have considered starting my own podcast or something if at all I was not an influencer.
Okay.
And then pandemic happened. I did not have any other option. I was started working at a corporate for 6 months. I realized it's not my cup of tea, and I started content. And I did not start content because I wanted to be a content creator. I started content out of frustration
Okay.
of where my family came from. They were like, come back, let's get you married.
Okay.
Enough. You're anyways of the age. You're anyways 8, 19, 20. That's more than enough. You wanted to go to Bangalore. You went to Bangalore. You wanted to study. You wanted to work. Everything's done. Just come back, right? And I was like, dude, it might be so much more easy if I were a boy. They'd push me to do better, to work and to come
Yeah.
up with something nice and then have a
Yeah.
name for myself. And now I just have to do this. So that's how I started content creation, and here we are, 3 years into it. I love everything that it has offered me, the opportunities that it has given me, the relationship that with my parents have gotten so much better. I travel around, I'm making my own money, and yes, I'm 25.
Yeah.
As of now, I still don't feel like I'm ready to be married,
Yeah.
and I'm not actively looking for a partner as well. But I think I would
Want to get
want
married
to
sometime?
eventually if I do find a right partner.
Yeah.
But if not, I don't think I'm also somebody who's like, oh no, if I don't feel like I'm running out of time.
You
I
should
don't
not.
feel the pressure for it. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
my parents have stopped asking for me, but then there are a lot of people of my age, 25, everyone I know, most of them I know are married, have babies. People younger to me are married or getting married. And all I have to say is it still has not kind of influenced me or put me in pressure where I'm like, okay, am I running late? Or will I find my partner or something of that sort? I'm really content to
Yeah.
with my life right now. And I'm like, okay, eventually, maybe if I have to find one, I'll find one.
Yeah.
It'll be there.
Yeah. And I think that's how it's supposed to be, also, right? I mean, marriage should not be like the ultimate aim or goal or something that you need to achieve by a certain age. It should be something that, should come eventually, organically. If you feel like you
But
want to get married, you want to find a right part,
I don't think we live in a society where we have the
no, we don't.
privilege for
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
That's exactly why a lot of women and a lot of people in general, not just women, have this pressure of, oh my God, I think I'm running out of time.
Yeah.
Because we live in a society which tells you constantly that you have an age which you need and require to
Yes,
finish this.
yeah.
You need to be here or there, or you're not pretty after that, or you can't have babies after that, or nobody's going to find you after this, or you'll have to marry like somebody old or somebody young.
Yeah.
So there's this constant pressure the society has,
Correct.
and that's what's inbuilt in a lot of people where they feel like, okay, you know what, I don't have the time.
Yeah, time
Because
is
no,
running out.
yeah. So no
Huh.
matter how much you want to tell yourself that if you don't feel like it, you don't feel like it. Whoever has to find you will eventually find you. There is a sense of pressure you have
Definitely.
internally because so many people around you are getting married or your parents are just talking about it constantly. You
Yeah.
have not seen a society. I keep telling this to my mother, right?
Hmm.
Sometimes I'm like, what if I don't want to marry, right?
Hmm.
What if I am at a place where I don't want to marry? So you can write a book as to telling the world why you need to marry, and that's what has been happening. Everybody gives you a reason why you should be married, because when you get old you have a partner to rely on, whatever, but you've never heard a single man or a woman share his or her side of the story, and it's already villainized. It's already seen as, oh, if it's a single woman then she's so sad, if
Yeah.
it's a single man then he might be so, but they probably might be living the best life, you never know.
Exactly.
But there are also marriages that are so sad and
Yeah.
so bad, but
Yeah.
you never
Yeah.
talk about it, right? So there are
Exactly.
negative aspects in everything and
Exactly.
positive aspects in everything.
Correct.
So I constantly keep telling them, maybe you can write a book as to I am married and this is my life with these many kids, and I could probably write like I am not married and this is my life and this is how my this is. But yeah, that's how pressures usually built, especially in the Indian society,
Yeah.
because of how the culture and the traditions play a role of, if you are of a certain age or your whole life goal is to like, हो गया सब कुछ हो गया ना, आपने
हाँ,
सब कुछ कर
कॉलेज हो
लिया
गया
ना,
ना.
हाँ तो फिर अभी बाकी क्या बचा हुआ है,
Yeah.
शादी.
Yeah. No,
So,
that's completely true. And actually, in today's podcast, that is one of the things that I think we'll be emphasizing on today. I'm sure that everybody is busy, prioritizing their careers.
Mm, mm.
They'll be navigating through their careers, but also, they'll be prioritizing their personal lives as well. In such busy times, like, I feel it's very important that you need to understand yourself, what you are, what your goals are, like what makes you happy
Happy.
before getting into a relationship, right? What do you think about that? Like, how important is it to, to know who you truly are before getting into a relationship?
I think I like being born in this era.
Yeah.
It's a generation where women are speaking up, people have opinions, everybody's sharing something. I love, how people have things to do, things to share. Everyone's just coming out of the bubble. We're not sticking to the same ideologies our parents have. People have a choice. People
Yeah.
have, or if not, at least a medium to know that this is also a possibility and this is also like, let's consider this. Nobody might have thought that this could be an occupation or this could be something that people could get work on or have a money.
Yeah.
Or let's consider that I never thought content could make me what I am today. Or
Yeah.
somebody might have not thought, oh, let me just rent a space and make a podcast room, because who thought that somebody can do this, right?
Yeah.
It's a generation where everyone's coming together to kind of talk, find different ways. It's not just engineer, it's not just doctor. It's the same thing with marriage as well. A lot of people are now opening up about, my parents lived this way and
Hmm.
my parents were to do this,
Hmm.
and it's not the same thing. A lot of women are independent. A lot
Correct.
of people are coming forward and doing what they want to do and everything of that sort, right? But one of the things that I feel is mostly important is, especially as a woman, I feel is you need to stay single
Yeah.
for some time
Yes.
to really learn
Yes.
about who
Yes.
you are,
Yes.
your capabilities, how you act, and what you're understanding yourself, and how you act if there is nobody around you. To be frank, if at all, I know a lot of people who, because of the same thing, the pressure of finding a partner, you usually have relationships, you usually have boyfriends or girlfriends, you jump from one relationship to another relationship,
Huh.
you let the other person
Huh.
decide for you or tell you what you are as a person.
Correct.
And then
Yes.
you don't have the time to analyze or think of what you are as a person, because you've already taken it from the first partner. You break up from the first partner, then you go to the second partner. The
Hmm.
second partner gives you some more insight about it. So
Hmm.
you basically are not learning anything about yourself, but you're learning about yourself from a second person's perspective or a third person's perspective.
Right.
And it is so important to actually just stay single. Like, especially if you're in a relationship, you get out of a breakup,
Hmm.
your way to cope up with your breakup should not be like finding another partner.
Another. Yeah.
You really need to like take some time for yourself, stay single. And one of the things that I feel changed a lot for me is moving out from my house and
Yeah.
living for myself.
Yeah.
Now here, this is probably might be my privilege, because I fought for it. I came here, they had no other option.
Hmm.
But not a lot of Indian societies and Indian parents allow that to happen. Like,
Correct.
you can't imagine a girl out of nowhere saying, hey, you know what, I want to get out of the house
Yeah.
and live by myself. And the
Yeah.
parents are going to be like, ooh, that is so westernized, that is so open-minded, why not, please go live your life. No way, that's like impossible.
Yeah.
But if you have the opportunity, if you have the privilege to move out of your house and live by yourself, there is nothing that life can teach you, especially this in your life, because you learn how to be independent, you're learning responsibility, you're learning how to clean, you're learning how to cook, you're learning
Hmm.
how to do things.
Hmm.
You have your own house to work on and figure things out on, something that books don't teach you, schools
Correct.
don't teach you, your parents don't teach you. Because your parents, you basically are born and then you're taught to like do school or whatever. The school teaches you to like work or whatever. Then your parents teach you to like get married and settle down and have babies, and then you're learning about that, and then eventually nobody is really teaching you to be yourself. And now we are in an era we're actually talking about self love, we're talking
Hmm.
about why it's important to know yourself. And once you've cracked that wall, once you've realized this is what I am, this is what I do, this is my coping mechanism, this is how I like things, this is how I don't like things, it becomes 100x better for you to find a partner who's aligning with your good and bad, yin
Right.
and yang.
Yeah.
Instead of not knowing what you are, jumping from one relationship to another relationship, you only then what you do is you give the control from one person to another person to another person to this new partner to decide for you, because you never really had the time to decide for yourself.
You're completely correct, and I couldn't agree with you more. I want to tell you something about myself, based on the same thing. It's like back in 2011. So I just graduated from my engineering, and it was 2011 March, April when I just graduated. And so I'd landed a job in Infosys Mysore, and I had to join in July. So there was this random conversation that I had with my dad, and he was like, "कि मतलब अच्छा ठीक है 2 महीना है, so let's find some guy and then we'll just get you engaged before you
Engaged.
go to the job."
Ooh,
So he's
this
like, "You go take the job, but किसी के साथ engagement
engaged
कर
ho
देंगे, हाँ
ja.
engaged होके you can go to the
It's
job."
the same story for I think pretty much everybody. Everyone
Yeah,
can relate to
yeah, yeah.
this.
And even you said
I have
like
had
something
this.
like
Yes,
that only,
yes,
na?
yes. All the time. They still are like, why don't you guys get engaged? I'm like,
Yeah.
no, girly.
So this notion where it's like, okay, she might not be able to take care of herself, so somebody should be responsible for her. So that kind of a thing, and obviously it was just like 2 months, so I did not get engaged to anyone. I just went for the job. But I have to tell you, as you said, the whole experience of living by myself, taking care of my expenses, making new friends, a little bit of travel here and there, like you are taking decisions and you're making choices that you are responsible for
Yes.
yourself, and that teaches you so much. The kind of self discovery that
True.
you have, nobody can teach you, not even your parents, as you mentioned. It has to be yourself.
And it's not just a learning experience, it's a very fun experience. It's
Yeah,
an up and down because even
yeah,
when you fail, you cry about it, you crib about it, but you somehow figure out the solution.
yeah,
You don't have anybody to lean back on. And
yeah,
you realize that this is my life, I need to figure things out for myself.
yes,
So yes, you feel the emotions, you cry about it, you crib about it, but then you realize this is life and you somehow need to work this out.
yeah.
There's no point of me crying or there's no point of me saying this over and over again if I don't decide what works for me best.
Yeah, yeah. So, and I think, every girl should have this chance. They should have this time for themselves. And actually, talking about it, back in the 90s, if you see, girls used to get married by the age of 18, 19. Now, if you see, the trend is definitely changing. The general age or the average age for girls to get married is about 25, like the average, if you see. I'm not talking about like, completely, but at least in the urban setup that we are living in now, that kind of shift has definitely come in where you do have, the girl is going out, taking up a job and having that, mind space where she can think independently about herself and make her career choices, decide about her own life before getting into marriage or
Hmm.
a serious relationship. I think that is something that all of us we should have.
There's this one reel that I saw, okay, and then I said, our parents or our grandparents, all of these people were pushed to be matured by the age of 18. Like, let's consider my grandparent who might have gotten married by 15 or 16.
Uh-huh.
My mom, 14 or 15. My mom by the age of 18 or 19. And now, so the thing is, the way you were pushed to be mature was at
Yeah.
that age. By then, you were supposed to be mature. You're already like a big girl. What's the whole deal, right? Now we see as I'm a 25-year-old baby. Like, when my parents even say you need to get married, I'm like, but I'm a baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, right? So the way we maturing also kind of is taking time and we feel
Yeah.
like I need some more time to know myself or I need some more time to understand. So the way it was before, as you said, it is definitely changing considering this.
Mm-hmm.
Not gonna say it's a lot of cases everywhere. I know
No.
so many of my cousins and so many of my people and in the village as well still
Yes.
following the same rule. The minute they're
Uh-huh.
hitting 21, they already
Uh-huh.
have found a guy,
Uh-huh.
already got them engaged. The minute they hit 21, because now the age has changed, they get them
Yeah.
married like right away.
Yeah.
It just is scary because what are you afraid of?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
What is
Take the
this
chance.
rush that you have? And it's this thing that parents see their kids as a duty.
Mm.
Like, okay, I worked, I did this, I did. Now the one last duty I have is marriage. So
शादी करा
once
दो.
they have it, they're like, okay, now I'm at peace. No, you're not at peace. Now you're like, okay, when is the grandchild coming?
Yeah, exactly.
When is this coming? Like, when are you
Exactly.
ever at peace?
Never.
They're never at peace. So I think the definition of peace really needs to change for people. It cannot depend on other people's decision of where and when to get married, when not to get married, and things of that sort. That's truly true though, which at
Yeah.
times have kind of changed. I like it.
Mm. So now, Rida, like, falling in love or getting married, falling in love, being in a relationship, it's like one of the most beautiful experiences. We've all been in love. It's amazing out there. But living together with someone, when you are actually committing for a long term relationship, living together with someone, ending up in a marriage, that of course changes like a lot of dynamics
Dynamics.
and a lot of challenges that you would have to navigate through when you are actually sharing the
Mm-hmm,
space with
mm-hmm,
someone every day,
mm-hmm,
morning,
mm-hmm,
night.
mm-hmm.
So, in that case, What do you think, Rida? Like, what is, I want to know, like, what's the Rida point
Point
of
of
view?
view of this.
What are the things, what are the qualities, what are the traits, or maybe you can also talk about the red flags, that you would want to see in your partner, the qualities that you would want to see in your partner for a long term relationship, or the red flags that you're like, not happening here.
I think when it comes to arranged marriage, you have
Yeah.
no other option but you know the person for some time. There's a
Hmm.
spark, there's a connection, everything's new. So you're
Yeah.
learning about the partner after you get married, which is sometimes very nice for some people. It's beautiful because you end up with with really nice people. You never know. There are so many arranged marriages I know which are running really good, and also arranged marriages that are not.
Yeah.
So it's like a whole different process because you're new, two different people. You're understanding each other. There's a sense of shyness. There's a different ball game that happens. But if you're somebody who's in a relationship already before you got married,
Hmm.
if you're somebody who decides to live in before marriage, or if you're somebody who knows this person, you have decided to marry, now you're engaged, and then you've been in a relationship, right? What happens is when you are not when in the early stages of any relationship is beautiful. It's amazing. It's
Yeah.
stunning. You like the adrenaline rush. You like the
The
Luka
butterflies.
Chupi, everything is just there, right? It's amazing, right? Then you kind of form a sense of comfort with the partner.
Yeah.
You like spending time with them. You don't mind going off without makeup. You're wearing sweatpants. You're eating whatever it is. You It's actually a good sign because if you're constantly in a pressure of wanting to look good all the time, be good all the time, what to say, what not to say, then that means this person's putting a lot of pressure and you're
Yeah.
not being you.
Hmm.
Right there is your clue that maybe this is not for me, or maybe this partner is not something that I can work with. Because a partner that you can easily gel with, they give you the access to slowly gel with you. Like, they take the shape and form of any container that's given to you. It's like water.
Yeah.
It's easy.
Yeah.
But if you're like forced to just stay in that one thing, you realize that this is not for me. This
Correct.
is just not happening because you're constantly thinking what to say, what not to say, what will trigger them, what will not trigger them, what if this works out, what if that does not work out. Right there is your first thing to figure out. How is your compatibility level and comfort level comes with that. The ease you have from being the shy person, whatever, to switching to this comfort space where you can share things, not share things, and you have this is where you know that this is probably the partner for me. Now, when you're living before marriage, or when you've considered that you want to do this, or let's just say that you have lived, nobody knows this, but you have lived.
Hmm.
It's a very different dynamic in a ball game at that point of time
Yeah.
because you don't have the families involved here.
Correct.
And relationships before marriage usually still has a thing like if this does not work out, we can break up,
Yeah.
right? But when it's marriage, it's
Yeah.
not that easy. It's
Yeah.
not like if this does not work out, then I'll get a divorce.
Yeah.
Nobody's thinking of it in that way,
Correct.
right?
Yeah.
So, but when it's relationship, you know it. And that's what makes it like 10x times easier. It makes it look like, okay, I'm going to give this a shot. I'm going to put whatever efforts that I can. But eventually, if it does not work out, I still have the option to leave.
Hmm.
That's the thing that changes the minute you're married because you're constantly are like, it's a divorce. The word divorced, the taboo around it is so much that
Oh,
people are
yes.
afraid to even consider that as an option. If you're married, you have to be happy.
Hmm.
There is no other option around it. It is okay. Like if it is not working out for you, you don't want to put yourself in like miserable years to
Yeah.
finally understand that the beginning reasons that you were not happy with will be the same reasons you'll eventually end up. Then the dynamics usually change when you do get married, and then the positioning is, let's consider you and I are in a relationship. We are living in this particular house. We both are comfortable. You know me, I know you. I love it. I love everything.
Yeah.
Now I have your parents,
Yeah.
and I have some pressure of how I want to be around your parents. You have some pressure of how you want to be around my parents. And then there is a certain way that they are seeing you as because of the mentality or the way they are living. And now you are like, dude, when we were living in a relationship, it was not such a big deal. I don't understand why you're not able to get adjusted with my parents. It's
Hmm.
not the same thing. You need to. So now what happens is you think that whatever you had there is going to be the same dynamics here, but marriage is a different ball game all in all. The families get, especially in the Indian societies, families get involved quite a lot. You're considering them, you're seeing them, you're looking out for them.
Yeah.
That's where something needs to be done. So here communication, I feel, is a very, very important aspect of it, because most of the times people tend to just be like, you were not like this before, I don't understand what's right now,
Hmm.
you're this or you're that. So it's
Hmm.
way better to kind of have meetings with their parents as well, have some conversations with them, spend some time with them, everything, way before you jump into just deciding. And if you are somebody who still wants to be with that partner, love them with all your heart, but feels like their family is not really aligning with you, I think it's very important to have a conversation with your partner way prior deciding if you want to live with the family or if you want to have space for yourself and
Yeah,
visit them or something. It's not selfish
it's not.
to decide that if you want to live separately, away from your mom and dad, because you're doing it, they can do it too, it's not a big deal. But then yeah, it's like a whole thing, so it's very very important for you to have this conversation way ahead. And and then it's not like your partner, then I thought you would want to be, you're okay with living with my parents are amazing, yeah, for you.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be the same thing for me,
Yeah.
right? So it's very important that you have a conversation way ahead of time, deciding how you want to live, have your living situation, because at the end of the day, you're going to be making your own family. You're
Yeah.
going to be your own, you're your own mom and dad, and you have a little baby of yourself. You have a certain way of living and vision, and that does not make you selfish, or that does not make you wanting to put yourself first, that you're not caring. You can still care for other people, you can still care for other families, you can still care for your families, and then still decide this is best for me, instead of having the whole toxicity revolving around you.
Yeah, yeah. In India, we say that you're marrying the family, right? There has to be like boundary setting,
True.
expectation setting with also the in laws, with also the relatives, with also the family, right?
Yes.
I mean, one thing that, okay, this is something that I can say because I've
You,
been
I was
married for
about to
6
say, I was
years.
like, maybe
Yeah.
you should say this. You should talk about this.
So there is one thing that, I would like to say is that you need to be yourself from day one. I mean, you cannot be like, this is something that obviously, you're going to a new family, you're meeting new people, you want to put your best self out there, you want to be like not showing off, but you want to put a best self, right? You want to be nice to everyone, you will not say no, never. But I feel that, from day one, it's not like you need to be like strict or something. I'm saying you need to be loving, kind, but also be firm.
Mm, mm.
If you have to say no to something, if something is making you uncomfortable, I feel that, and be yourself. I really feel that, there's no need to create an unreal expectation about you on how
Yeah,
you are
you're a
in your.
different character in front of them, and when you go back to the room, you're just like,
I think in a marriage, partners have to support each
support each
other.
other.
Parents are like, they're the third circle. I think the partners, they have to be together. They have to support each other and they have to stand up for each other. And,
If that does not happen, it's going to be really hard.
yeah, exactly. And
Because you'll be the bad person all the time.
exactly. And I have seen relationships wherein something happens wrong, and then you call up the parents and you involve the parents and they bring in their perspectives. But I think from my point of view, it should be like, if two people are involved in a relationship, you need to talk, you need to take care of it. And whatever parents, because they are from a different generation, they have their own ideals and mindsets, you respect them. Don't.
Come to the mid ground.
Yeah, exactly. And you need to balance it out somehow. And I think for balancing it out, partners play a major role to stand with each other.
Oh God, I think when we spoke about red flags, I did not speak of one thing, and that is mama's boy. Like, if you are marrying a mama's boy, all the best. But yes, because they do not, they're obsessed with their mothers, and their mothers are obsessed with their sons so much that they never have space for themselves. These people start viewing you as the extension of their mother, and then they're disappointed if you're not being the
Yeah,
same as your
yeah,
mother. And then your mother is disappointed if you're not able to cater the same way that their mothers used to do it. And these people involve their mothers in everything so much that the intimate details of your life also goes there, and it becomes extremely tricky, because sometimes you would want it personal, you want it with your partner. Oh my god, please have your and it's very important, like especially if there are certain instances where the family members have hurt you in some way, you speak this to your partner and you decide to bring it, and the partner is not standing with you, and you're just out there saying that this made me feel this way. Everyone's going to be like, you're dramatic. But if your partner just be like, I really expect you not to speak to my wife like this, it would be better, can
and
change a lot of
yeah,
things.
yeah,
So it's very important to set expectations with your husband, your wife, both of these before marriage itself, what you can do and what you cannot do, what you're okay with, what you cannot be okay with. You're right, if you're going to play like a whole different character with the family where you're sweet and loving, I'm not saying you cannot be sweet and loving, you should be sweet and loving, but you also need to be affirmative and firm. You also need to know when to say no, and also need to show your whenever you disapprove of something, or show your sadness at certain decisions when they're making, to let them know that this is affecting me, I'm not a fan of this thing. Because if you're this, then they expect you to be that your whole life. I see my mom changing characters with my dad's side of family every time she comes, because she does not have the liberty and the freedom to be herself,
Right.
right? And that's not fair at all, because there's a pressure that builds for you to be a certain way, because you already set an expectations of how you have to be and how you don't have to be.
Correct.
You need to have a conversation with your husband as to what you're okay with and what you're not okay with. Let him know, or let her know, as to what are the times when somebody in your family might have told something that has affected you, because some things stay. And know that, I'm not, this time I'm going to let it go, but next time I am going to bring this up. I'm going to let the person know that I did feel bad, because maybe, let's just consider you're letting it go the first time because you want to give them a benefit of doubt. But the second time, as you've let it go for the first time, you have the leverage of letting know that you did say this before, but I'm not a fan of it. It's not saying that, oh, you're going to create a dynamic where you're going to fight all the time. No, but you're going to create this extremely toxic space for yourself, because
Yeah.
everybody else is living a really good life. You're the only one putting yourself in pressure. You're the only one putting what you want and what you don't want, to a point where you have no other option but to be this person you're not. Set expectations, know how your partner is. Sometimes, if they are not, then you really, really need to figure out, let them know that this is not what you're going to be, this is not acceptable. What is not acceptable is not acceptable. There are certain things you have to compromise, but always consider what are the things you're sacrificing, because one sacrifice leads to a second sacrifice, to a third sacrifice. Is the other person sacrificing at all? Compromising is coming to a middle ground, and
Yeah.
sometimes maybe you are the one compromising, maybe they're the one compromising. But the minute your marriage turns into sacrifices, all it's going to be is like complete sacrifice over and over again.
Yeah, yeah. No, I feel that is very important. I mean, it cannot be taken for default, like, especially for us women, okay? I feel like just because you're a woman, you'll be a good mother, or
Mother.
you'll want to be a mother. Things are changing now.
Like, yeah,
You need to,
as a woman, you need to adjust. How is it that my mother did all of it
yeah.
and you can't? My mother was just like stunningly. So I also feel this, okay? Our fathers and really put like zero efforts into doing anything. And because our mothers did not have this opportunity to go ahead, it's a small setting, it's a small village. You're not really looking for anything else. You only have like limited number of people. You've
Yeah.
never done anything of that sort. So when you are put into an arranged marriage situation, this is the guy, the bare minimum that they do, our mothers have glorified it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's different for us. We
Yeah.
are doing that bare minimum for ourselves. We are
Yes.
doing everything by ourselves. We are independent, whatever, right? So
Yeah.
men right now actually have to put in efforts,
Yes.
but they don't know how, because their parents have never taught that. Arranged marriages are a thing. अगर आपको लड़की नहीं मिल रही है तो हम खुद ढूंढ के लेके आएंगे.
Uh-huh.
So the putting in efforts are not something that's been taught, because like our fathers never put in efforts, and our mothers still did so much for them. What's the big deal? I don't understand, why are you acting up so much? I
Yeah.
don't understand, why are you doing all of these things, because my mother could do all of this to my father, and now apparently whatever I do is not even the bare minimum. Yes, because the times have changed.
Yes.
They had no other option but to settle for that. They had no other option but to feel like, oh my god, you touch them, is like, oh my god, your father just like touched me, and then feel like it. But it's so much more different for us right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the whole idea of having to perceive, or having to put in efforts, or having to do things have not really been instilled a lot in Indian mentality, that they have no other option. They're like, ढूंढ लेंगे, कर लेंगे,
हाँ.
वो करना ही पड़ेगा. अगर मेरी माँ ने किया तो फिर आपको भी करना ही पड़ेगा. That's not a big deal. You're a woman at the end of the day. You're emotional anyway. So you need to come up with all of these things anyway. So yeah, it's very
Absolutely.
important. Like for me, let me say red flags. I don't want to go extremely negative into this. There's a lot of people who are getting married. They're all like, I'm going to wear my lehenga tomorrow. So I don't want to. No. But then I
Yeah.
think it's the basics at least,
Yes.
You need to, a conversation where the person's not intimidated by you. Both of you guys are working. Sometimes you might be earning way more than that person, or that person's earning way more than you. Don't have the conflict about it. You're deciding on your accounts and everything. Is the person helping you already, let
Mm.
that be folding clothes or doing dishes or when you're cooking, because all of these are the things that will continue doing it as well. When you're asking for them for something, are they responding? When they do the same thing, do you feel like responding? You need to understand your red flags as well, both of them understanding what you're lacking and what they're lacking, how you're compensating for it, how they're compensating for it. But you need to like actively know. But the major red flags in the beginning, let that be raising your voice, or just telling, putting the assertiveness, these are not going to go.
Mm.
right? These are
Yeah.
something that will just get bigger and bigger with every passing time. So the major red flags, if you see, like raising your voice, if they're physically even slightly abusive, sometimes like raise their hand just because they're angry, and you're able, these are all like love uh, marriages, or you're able to spend time with this person way before, and this is what your patterns are.
Yeah.
Run, baby girl, run.
So I think with red flags, I feel we always sense it from the starting.
We just ignore it because
We
you're
just
so
ignore
madly in
it.
love.
Yeah, and also, if it's a love marriage or if you're in a relationship, you would always want to give the other person chances. And you know that people don't change.
But it's also, with love marriage, let's consider you've already taken it to your parents and you've
Yeah.
already told them that this is the guy I want to marry, and it took some time, and now they're like, okay, you can marry this guy.
Huh.
And now you really can't name the red flags, or really can't bring out all of these red flags because you've told your parents. Now you have this sense of standards that you need to keep for this person no matter what. You have to, let that be a man or a girl, you need to constantly let them know that this is a nice person, even though you might know that this is not the nice person.
Yeah, yeah,
But you're so much in love and you want this to work out so much because you think I'm a fixer and I can fix everything.
yeah,
All the best. But yeah, that you feel like this. So even though you might be in trouble, you're scared to let this know because you're like, I found this person, I am in love with this person, I don't want anybody else to know that, this person might be bad for me or wrong for me. And now I've agreed and made everybody okay with this. Now how can I just out of nowhere be like, I don't want this person? I really wish more women and more men come to understanding that if it's not working out for you,
don't.
it's okay for you to leave. You will find people otherwise. This obsession of wanting to stick to the same person
Yeah.
because you're afraid that you'll not find anybody else. Oh my god, it's scary.
No, and I really feel that at any point you really feel that it's not working out, it's okay to let go.
Yeah.
It's okay to let go. And even if your parents are involved, your relatives are involved, it's okay.
Yeah.
Communicate and let go of it. लोग भूल जाते हैं यार, it's okay. And also, like, talking about red flags, I feel that, if I'm in a relationship with you, for example, I'll be like, Rida, you are my everything. You
Oh.
are my world. My world revolves around you. I really feel, that is like one of the biggest red flags, okay?
And
I
if
mean,
if I'm a narcissist, I will make sure that that's how I would want you to be. Yes, I want you to feel that I'm your world, and I'll constantly make sure I'll love bomb you, give you a little attention, then go away. So you're like obsessed with me. You want the constant
yeah,
attention, come here and there. Ooh, like being in love with a narcissist is probably the most scariest thing ever
yes,
because they
yes,
do not care about anything else but them, and everything that they do is for their benefit and not for you ever.
yes. So I mean, it's very important that you should have your own individuality,
Mm.
individual hobbies. If two people are in a relationship, you should have your own life.
Yes.
You should have your own things to do. I mean, you should have your own hobbies, and then you should like collaborate together, come together,
Yes.
grow together.
Oh, it's like
If
this, like be fully in love with yourself so much that you don't have to find another half. You're
Yeah,
full within yourself and you have enough love to give it to another person.
yeah,
So you both are coming to fully full-fledged people who know each other really well to come together and then figure out how you want to do life, or then figure out that this is something that I'm lacking, this is something that I'm lacking. How do we work? Because we're not perfect people at the end of the day,
correct.
but we definitely can communicate enough to know, or at least know that is this person for me or is this person not for me.
Communication is such an important thing, and I really feel that like I feel that एक generation पहले, like our parents, I've never seen like the proper communication between them, about emotions, about how they feel in situations or what they want, from each other. That communication, I think, in the earlier generation was really lacking. But I think now,
It's
in
picking
our
up.
generation, it has become a thing, where you have to, it's a very important thing that you have to be transparent, you have to communicate your feelings. So I think that is something really good
Yes.
that is out there right now. So, have you watched this series जो Amazon Prime में है? It's called Made in Heaven.
Oh, I have watched Made in Heaven.
So I think the season 2 had come up a couple of months back, and so I want to tell you about this. One of the episodes में कैसे होता है. So in that Made in Heaven, every episode it's like a शादी
Different
जो होती
story,
है,
yeah.
different story, and it's like a marriage that happens. Okay, so in this particular episode, it's this bride who's sitting in a salon and who's getting her skin lightening technique done. Okay, So she's getting her laser done, and there's also a wedding planner in Made in Heaven who's like the main character. So she comes in and she's like, why are you getting it done? It's not necessary. You are beautiful as you are. So, and then suddenly उस scene में क्या होता है is like the salon की जो owner है, she comes in and she looks at Shobita, who is like the main character in this, who's the wedding planner, and she says कि मैम आपको भी करा लेना चाहिए skin lightening technique, आपका skin पूरा साफ हो जाएगा. So this is the dialogue she uses in, and this particular dialogue, skin साफ हो जाएगा. I mean, I was like, किससे साफ हो जाएगा? क्या साफ हो जाएगा? This kind of, mindset, and especially like when you're getting married, uh, this kind of, social mentality where the girls has to be fair, or you have to get married to a fair girl. If you get married to a fair girl, to hamara, grandchild will be fair. There are so many things which you will not see it on every day, but it's there. We
Oh
know that
God.
it is there. So, this kind of an obsession with fair skin, and especially the main kind of a pressure would come up to any girl who is getting married. I'm sure कि खुद पे अगर pressure नहीं भी होता होगा, but हमारे family में, हमारे surroundings में कोई ना कोई आके कुछ बोल के चला ही जाता होगा कि मतलब what do you
I
have to say
can give
about this?
you a whole, I can write a book on this. I am a brown girl, and my whole entire childhood has just been कि कैसा शादी कराना सो, काली होगी ना, कैसा ढूंढ गाना सो, कौन छोकरा मिलता है. And for me to make me feel better,
Hmm.
they'd also compare my sister because my sister is very fair,
Okay.
and they'd be like, usually kali chokriyan ko, like the brown girls get like fair guys.
Oh, that's to make
They
you feel
get,
better.
yeah, they get like lucky, and
Uh,
sometimes like the fair girls get like brown guys,
oh,
and just to make her feel like even. And I'm just, how it's so unfair to even bring in my sister to make her feel bad about her skin complexion. And then I don't know what, I feel sad because this is the way you thought you'd make me happy, is to say that I might get a fair guy.
yeah.
My life would be complete because as a brown girl,
You get
that's my goal. I
Yeah.
need to find a fair guy. Like if him and I get married, I probably might. That's all I want in my life. My entire childhood
Hmm.
has only been Haldi Chandan, Fair and Lovely. Why don't you try this? Why don't you try that?
But
Um,
it's so unfair as a child growing up here.
it's the mentality that people have. It's basically like, and it's also because people think that your skin color can change. It's
Mm, mm,
actually
mm,
thinking that it's just a defect.
mm,
If you do all of this, it'll go
mm,
away.
mm.
It's not knowing that it's actually a color. It's also something that can be there. It's also
Yeah,
something that people have. No, it's that. And I also had curly hair. Like right now, though this is smoothing and whatever, I have like proper curls. It
I've
did
seen.
change after I came to Bangalore because of water and everything, but I had a
Yeah,
I had curly hair, so it's like a brown skin curly hair, right?
yeah.
And everyone just is like, oh, this is going to be a very hard task to find somebody. Another way that make me feel better is like, kali rahe to bhi lachan hai. It's like, even though you're dark, you have nice features.
Yeah, these are some of the things.
And I'm just like, oh, thank you for that honor. But the thing is, it did not help me. Right now, I'm confident enough to be like, oh, this is what that.
Huh.
I used to be so insecure. I felt so bad. I constantly kept buying things that didn't make me fair, or buy products that was slightly lighter than my skin tone, because I thought that's what it was supposed to do and that's what
Hmm.
it's supposed to be.
Hmm.
And also I'm a girl with like pigmented lips, right? So even if I without makeup, I felt like it's just crazy because your nails as a clean girl aesthetic, as a brown skin, it's very much more different from as you are as a fair girl. You have pigmented lips automatically because of your dark skin, or it's genetics or it's
Hmm.
hereditary. And also your dark circles play a little different than it is on the fair skin. But the problem is it's all looked upon as everything negative and not like natural at all. And my whole childhood I was like, I'm not gonna find a handsome guy. I am not pretty. I should settle for anything less. My sister's so much more beautiful. I don't think I have anything to do. Like, I did not know my skills. I did not know what I could possibly do. I did not know the talents I had, or I did not know what I could offer to the world or to myself, because I constantly kept feeling that
Hmm.
as somebody who's a brown girl, I am not supposed to be living here. This is not my space. This is not for me. And the world is made for fair people. The world is made for white people. I mean, like, then why did God make people who are brown and who are black, who are dark. I don't understand. If the world is meant for white people, he could have just equally made everybody white, right? I don't understand this. And it constantly kept eating me. My little sister is also dark. It constantly kept eating her. Everybody would just come and be like, why is your sister fair? Why are you dark? Try this out, try that out. This changed my skin color, that changed my skin color. The obsession with it was so much that the only thing it changed for me is when I came to Bangalore. I moved
Hmm.
to Bangalore and I felt very comfortable in my skin. A lot of people were like, you look so pretty. I love the tan you have, the skin color. You glow under the sun. Nobody said I glow under the sun. Everybody said you don't go under the sun because you'll grow darker. And
Yes.
nobody let me drink Kali cha because if you drink Kali cha, then you're Kali.
ऐसी कितनी सारी चीजें हैं, I mean seriously.
Oh my god, they were like so there was this one little there was this uncle of mine, okay, and he constantly kept telling that to me. He'd be like, they call me Titu back home. They're like, Titu, tu kali cha pino ko, you'll be
हाँ,
kali.
हाँ.
And then he had a baby girl who's also as brown as me, okay? And then few of my relatives would be like, this is what happens if you like tease other people. Now your child is kali. Now you don't make her drink kali cha. I was like, this is not this is not the takeaway, guys. This is just because you put me down does not mean I want that girl to like grow up with insecurities as well.
Yeah,
That's not what we are looking at. Oh God, it was this very sad way of my child. Not sad, but it was an ignorant way of my childhood. Like now, when I go back home,
Hmm.
I go back extremely confident. Everybody's just like, how though? I mean, and then they're like, oh, gori ho gaya na. I said, khaan gori ho gayi hu? This was my color all the time. And I've been this all the time. Oh, is it okay? Fine. Kya dal rahi tu? Achhi dikh rahi hai na. I was like, nothing. No, I'm not putting anything. I'm just confident. I just like myself. That's it. And this whole idea of this facial and the bleach and the makeup artist putting extra different
हाँ.
a shade lighter on your skin tone during your wedding day, it
Yeah,
just is so sad because can we not normalize this? It's taken so
exactly.
much. You've already seen the girl. You've already decided this is what you want. And I really hope women out there are confident in their skin tone enough to feel like शादी तक मैं गोरी हो जाऊंगी, शादी तक मैं पतली हो जाऊंगी, शादी तक मेरा ये like no, your शादी तक is not your ultimate goal. This is your body. Your body needs to be accepted by you first. If you don't love yourself the way you are, if you're not confident, you're just going to be putting all of this on another person. And even if though they did not see you that way, they'll start seeing you that way. And even if you did not feel confident in your skin tone or something, like most of my uncles and aunties who used to constantly put me down because of this, now are very afraid to get this topic because I'm like, I don't understand why are you guys saying this or doing all of these things. This is my skin tone. Can
Hmm.
you change this? If you can change this, then I'm ready to change it. But can you?
Hmm.
No, right? And I
Hmm.
don't want to go through that procedure and I don't want to do that. Can I,
Hmm.
if it's an under control of me, if it's something that I can do, if it's a massive change that I have in my control, maybe I can think about it or maybe I can consider. If I can't, this is how I'm born. I'm able to breathe, I'm able to walk, I'm able to eat, I'm able to smile. I think I'm good to go. Now nobody speaks though because they're like next time ये मेरे ऊपर video बना देगी. So so I usually they are very scared of saying anything. But it's sad, and especially for all the brides out there, if you guys are watching this, doesn't matter what your skin tone is, you need to understand that the only way another person's able to respect you is when you respect yourself, regardless of your skin color, your body weight, what you can offer, what you cannot. You don't have to known as like, oh, this color looks good on brown skin, this color does not look good on. You like that color, you wear that color. You
Exactly.
feel good, you feel good. Go, it's your marriage, it's your wedding day. You're gonna look amazing anyway. You don't need that golden face pack that's gonna give you that glow. Or every time I've realized every other bride who's gone to these face packs have ended
Yeah.
up with acne the next day.
Yes,
It's
yes.
always some breakout that
Yes,
happens the
yes,
next day.
yes.
You don't have to bleach
And
your
you need things to
skin.
cover that up also,
Yeah, you
ne?
don't have to bleach your skin. Just be comfortable, confident enough to know that this is who you are, this is what I am. You're stepping into a new phase of your life and you're stepping it this way. And you're automatically you're amazing. And I hope they're able to stand up to these bullies and they're able to stand up and let them know that this is what I am. If I can change, आप पैसे दे दो मैं change करा दूंगी.
Exactly.
Put the bills on them. अगर आपको चाहिए ये सब करने के लिए आप मेरे को पैसे दे देना मैं करा के आ जाती हूँ कल. Keep that money to yourself and like shop something amazing.
But that's what, no, these bullies that you're talking about, they are in our own house.
Yes.
You know, it's sometimes our own parents.
Yes.
It's sometimes someone, jo bagal wali auntie. It's our neighbors. It's our relatives. It's someone will be actually, for example, you'll be all dressed up for some wedding of your cousin, and then some auntie comes and tells you this and goes. So it's always, someone, I think, in our own circle who tries to put you down in this way. And I think, at least in our generation, there has to be, parents should stand up for their children,
I think
and
you
they
need to stand up for yourself enough.
at least when you're growing up,
Yeah,
you know,
it's
when you're just 10,
true,
11, I
true,
think
true.
parents they are the first people that
Yes,
you would look up to, right?
yes,
They
yes.
have to give you that confidence that yaar beta jaisi hai mast hai.
मस्त रहे.
So that has to, I think, firstly come from the parents, and eventually because we have learned it the hard way.
I think us as parents might change that.
है ना? Yeah, definitely. I think our generation is very hopeful in many many ways that way.
Yeah, probably us as a generation might change that.
Yeah. So, guys, it was absolutely amazing to have Rida Tarana on our podcast today. And I'm sure that, all of us, we would have got a lot of important insights, before getting married. What are the things that you should think about? जो चीज़ें हमें ध्यान में रखने चाहिए. A lot of discussions that you should have with your partner. I'm sure कि, if you're getting married, there needs to be clarity on that. And, maybe we would have helped you in that direction. Thank you so much, guys, for watching this video. ये वाला वीडियो थोड़ा सा लंबा हो रहा था, but there's a part 2 coming up on the podcast where we are going to discuss and dive into topics like financial independence of women after marriage, and we talk about dowry and obsession with gold in today's society. So stay tuned, guys. Our continuation is coming up next week. Thank you so much for tuning in, and let me know in the comment section below कि आपको ये podcast कैसा लगा. Let me know कि ऐसे और कोई topics है जिनके बारे में हमें बात करना चाहिए, and who would be the next guest that you want to see. Thank you so much, guys, and see you in the next episode soon of the same podcast with Rida Tarana. Thank you. Bye.